In today's video, we're going to go over how to start making money as a photographer. If you enjoy learning from me in my YouTube videos, you probably would also love learning from me on my exclusive members-only website, The Academy with John Gress. And that's where you'll get access to frequent live Q&A and critique sessions that happen on Zoom. You'll also get access to longer tutorials than you'll find here on YouTube. And of course, you'll get access to my YouTube videos, but just a little bit earlier. The other thing is you'll also get discounts on my in-person workshops. So for more information, just go to johngress.com/academy for more information. So a lot of new photographers frequently ask me how they go from being an amateur to starting to charge for their work. And this video today is going to focus on sort of the steps that you'll take to go about that and sort of the ways that you can earn money as a photographer. So the very first thing is that you have to show the work in order to get the work. And this may seem fairly basic, but there is a little bit more to it. If you want to be a commercial photographer, you're going to need to have a portfolio that shows commercial photography. You're also going to need to have a portfolio with modeling images if you want to be a modeling or fashion photographer. And you're going to need a portfolio with family photos if you want to be a family photographer. The other thing is the more content you generate and the more content that you have to share online, the more contact that you're going to have with a potential customer. So for instance, if you wanted to be a headshot sort of LinkedIn business photographer, every time you post photos from a client session, let's say on Instagram, is another occasion where you might be able through hashtags or through the Explore page to get to someone who may be interested in hiring you. So the best way to go about developing this work, if you're not getting clients coming through the door, is just to go with your friends and family. So if you need a family photo session, go to your cousin's family and get them together and generate that work. If you need modeling photos, whether that's for lifestyle or for fashion, you can connect with people of all ages on Instagram by looking at hashtags, whether that's the crew or the models. And you can sort of be able to put together a set of images that will showcase your skills. Now, if you need to find models in your area, you might want to look at hashtags that are germane to your location. So in Atlanta, that's going to be ATL model. And in New York City, that's going to be NYC model. I think that's the correct one. In Chicago, where I'm located, it's Chicago model. And you sort of get the drift. You're just going to have to figure out which hashtag is best for your particular area. The other thing that you need to do is you need to sell consistency, so that if your work looks like it's all over the board from every sort of different style and genre, you're probably going to need to focus a little bit more, because most consumers are basic, and if they're looking for a wedding photographer, they need to see wedding photos, and they need to see a lot of them in the same particular style they're looking for. So a lot of times when I was younger and I was trying out new lighting setups or new ideas for art direction, I would try to reinvent the wheel every time. And I think it's best on client shoots for you to just sort of have incremental improvements by perfecting things that you've done before and selecting things that you know will work. That way, your sessions will take a lot less time and your clients will get exactly what they're looking for. Now, on the other hand, when you're doing test shoots, you can experiment and try out totally new things. I think that's great and a valid, cool way for you to learn new skills. But a lot of times just start to think about, does this look like my normal work? Is this commercially viable before you press that share button? So that's just a little thing to think about. When you're just getting started, don't worry about finding a particular niche or only going in a certain direction if you're unsure with what you want to do. Now, if you know for sure that you want to be a ballet photographer, go for it. Absolutely. But if you're a little undecided and you're not sure, just jump in there and get things going, because Your personal network of friends and family and business contacts, and the experience that you're going to develop, as well as how you're going to figure out that you're going to excel in those particular areas that you're best at. All of those things will come together and they will help you develop your niche. So, for example, I didn't know that I was going to primarily become a commercial beauty photographer. Most of my clients are in the hair industry. But it just so happened that through networking, I met the right person and they became my client. And that experience led to me getting all sorts of other business within this genre. I just wanted to light people's faces. And so here I am today doing something that's more specific within my niche. And it's worked out really well for me. So you don't know where the road is going to take you. Just start out on the road and it will sort itself out. Now, there are different models for making money. There is commercial photography, and that's simply when you are working to create images to further someone else's business, whether that's marketing a particular product or marketing a particular person. The other thing would be sort of more of a volume model, and that would be that you're trying to get people through the door in order to get them in and out and get images delivered to them efficiently. Now, the other model that you've probably heard about a lot is the artist model. And that's where you're going to probably develop a relationship with your client and maybe spend about 4 days between consulting with them ahead of the photo shoot, pre-selling them on things that you would like them to buy, or at least setting those expectations, then doing the shoot, then perhaps retouching a number of images and showing them and trying to sell each one at a time. Usually this artist model revolves around selling and salesmanship. Now, these photographers normally boast about how they're making $2,000 to $6,000 per session, photographing everyday people or families and what have you. This particular artist model can be a little bit overwhelming for new photographers. So, because it's hard for you to develop a network where you can charge a lot of money when you're just starting out. So, I would suggest for most people that they look at starting out in more of a volume method. And that's where they sort of start off by looking at the prices that other photographers are charging around them, and then sort of charging a little bit less and just trying to do things where they're pre-selling the shoot time with some retouched images. And they're trying to have the client come in without a whole lot of pre-consultation, have them do the session, and then trying to do their retouching in a short period of time. I can do a lot of my half-day sessions. I can do all the pre-work and the shoot and the retouching in one singular day. And I would be surprised, and I would bet you that I'm probably making as much per hour as the artist model people are making in the 3 to 4 days they have invested in a single session. And that's not talking about commercial photography, that's more talking about personal branding and sort of family legacy types of pictures. The other thing is that you've got to have a body of work and a number of contacts, probably in order to get to that level where you are charging a large amount per session. Now, you may never decide that you want to do the artist model. You might just want to stick with the volume model. But I think for the most part, you probably should start out with the volume model just to build experience and a body of work. And that way, if you want to later, you can go for the artist model. But don't think that you need to start off with the artist model or that you ever even need to get there. That doesn't make you any more or less of a photographer. It just means there are different ways to make money than what you might be hearing about a lot in Facebook groups, as I think a lot of times people are pushing people towards this artist model, but that might not be the best way for you. The other thing is that your rates are going to evolve over time. And I probably didn't charge quick enough I started off at a lower price point and sort of gradually let it come up to where I am now, whereas I probably should have been a little bit more aggressive. But the reaction that the market has to your price point will determine for you what your pricing should be. After you've been working for a while, it's perfectly okay for you to start to turn down work. It took me a while to get to that point. I started off taking anything, any phone call that I got, and then I started to realize, I'm really busy. I just don't have time to do everything, and so I've got to do a little bit less. And so I started to turn down some jobs. The other thing is, once you start to build a reputation and you start to develop your skills, there are particular areas of photography that you're not going to be great at. And so you don't want to end up disappointing people by doing a bad job and perhaps getting a bad Yelp or Google review. So when you've got your business up and running, don't be afraid to turn down work, or better yet, refer it to a photographer friend who is good in those areas, because hopefully she or he will return that favor and refer work back to you. If you're sitting there right now kind of worrying, I just don't know, I'm concerned I don't have enough pictures, or I don't have enough experience, or I'm not good enough, don't let that stop you. The most important thing that you can do is to get started. So don't doubt yourself for a minute. Just go out there and start working, and it will sort itself out along the way. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for your time. Stay safe, have a great day, and I will talk to you soon.